In an ever-evolving digital landscape, for your business to thrive, you must adapt or die. Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the podcast helping you harness the power of AI and marketing tools to revitalize and grow your business. And now here's your host, marketing expert and author of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, Emmanuel Rose.
Welcome to this episode of Marketing in the Age of AI. In this episode, we're going to talk a little bit about entrepreneurialism, about starting a business, about using AI to test some of your ideas and your working theories, and how best to leverage these tools so that you can get off and running with the least amount of drag possible. My guest today is Ahmed, and Dr. Mohamed is a serial entrepreneur and innovative product visionary whose journey has taken him from leadership roles at many well-known companies, including Microsoft and Amazon. And he's not only an entrepreneur, but he holds a PhD in computer science, and he has played a crucial role in advising the accelerators, like 500 Startups and Techstars. And he's taken that experience and his own experience and published a book called The Inside Out Entrepreneur. And Mo, I welcome you to the show, and thanks so much for spending some time with me today.
Hi, Emmanuel. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Well, it's always great to have another author and somebody who's taken time to not only think about writing a book, but then digging into the process of writing a book and then actually getting it out there into the world. So congratulations and thanks for taking the time to do that.
Thank you.
What was the big motivator for you to make this happen?
It comes from an experience. Most of my career and education, as you mentioned, is just engineering. I built products, and I worked at big companies, helping them to build those products. And then I got the entrepreneurial bug, so I decided to build my own startup. I read lots of books about entrepreneurship and business, and I thought that I'm ready. But when I started my company, I got from one setback to another, one failure to another. And I was almost seeing the failure in front of me almost every day.
Right.
And it felt to me that it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm going to see that I'm going to, hit the wall, and I'm going to hit the wall. And around mid journey, 2 years after founding the company and going through lots and lots of, dark days, I paused and I just asked myself, why all of that? I mean, why all those problems? And hopefully we're going to dig into some of those stories today. And I realized the problem is not about that I don't know how to run the company or I don't know about business and marketing. Certainly, there's always something to learn.
Sure.
But it was all about my mindset and my perspective of the journey and about myself. And with the help of a few mentors and then me pausing and looking back again, I started to bring myself into the right mindset, right perspective. And I started building a system for myself and actually started to really flip things around. Everything just changed. 2.5 years after that, I sold the company and I learned a lot. And I said, is this a problem that I was the only one going through, or is it a common problem? So
Right.
I started talking to entrepreneurs, and I realized it's a common problem. And I said, you know what, this is definitely an opportunity to share some of that learning with other entrepreneurs and focus with them on the psychology of being an entrepreneur. What does it mean to be ready? So the book has lots of stories and also has a framework. I call it the Entrepreneurial Conditioning Framework to get someone from just want to be an entrepreneur to be actually ready. And I usually use this analogy. It's pretty much like climbing a mountain. Go and ask any mountaineer, no matter how experienced they are, they would tell you before any major trip, they would need to condition themselves,
Right.
physically, emotionally, and other dimensions. So why not? It's the same thing. Entrepreneurial journey is an unforgiving journey, pretty much like climbing mountains. And for those who watch movie Everest, they can definitely relate to that.
Yeah, well, that's a good perspective, and because you kind of, as entrepreneurs, we climb up that mountain and we get to a peak, and then we see like the next one over there. We're like, okay, now we're gonna go climb that one, and it's never like you're just done, right? We're creative problem solvers, and we want to have the opportunity to continue build on our successes.
Absolutely.
Well, what were some of the challenges that you came up against, and then the psychology that you had, and then the psychology that you used to get past that?
Well, a lot. Actually, I like to tell stories, and hopefully, this story would be relevant to anyone listening to us right now. At the beginning, just pre-seed, I raised around $500,000, and we wanted to build that initial product. We spent around $400,000. It was running on AWS or Amazon Web Services. They
Yeah,
give you credits, and then after around 6 months building the product, we we had the opportunity to present our product in a big conference. And as I was entering the conference venue, I got an email from AWS. That email was telling me, "Hey, you owe us around $65,000." 2 3 weeks before it, I remember looking at our dashboard, and we actually had more than 50,000 credits. So we burned through a lot of money, $115,000 in just 3 weeks. And back then, we did not have any customers. We had employees. We had just $75,000 in the bank, and that's it.
right.
Uh, so I got paralyzed at that point. I didn't know what to do, and again, because I was, if you will, green, not yet into the everyday struggle of a startup. We're just 6 months into it.
Yeah,
First thing that came to my mind, you know what? We're going to fail. We're going to be just yet another statistic
right.
out of those companies that fail in the first year.
Yeah,
And it took me 4 weeks to actually recover, to actually just bring myself together and start negotiate with AWS, move my infrastructure to Google after getting some credits from them. So I was able to do some, hacky stuff to
yeah,
keep the company going, and then negotiate with AWS whatever that we need to pay them. So that's an example of someone who does not have that resiliency, the mental and emotional resiliency, so that you can withstand those, adversary kind of events.
yeah,
Now, so that's an example. Take a snapshot of that. Now, 4 years forward, after going through lots of things and again applying that framework, we were about to be acquired by a big company, a late stage startup, multi-billion-dollar startup. They did all the due diligence. They met my engineers. They looked at our bank accounts, everything. We're just ready to sign. And they backed off just 2 hours before signing the contract.
right. Yeah,
Now, if for those who worked in that space, when you go and sell your company, it's a big distraction. You stop fundraising. It definitely impacts the momentum that you have with your customers, because you're really now into selling the company.
right.
And now all of that vanished. Now, I developed by then, after applying that the framework, I applied then the how do you get into a quick rebalancing, if you will, and be able to respond rather than reacting. Less than 2 hours after that, I picked up the phone. I called five of my friends. They connected me with other CEOs of other similar companies. Hey, we have an LOI from a company that's interested to buy us. Are you interested also in us?
Right.
And by the end of the same week, I was having 5 meetings with CEOs of companies who were interested in buying us. And luckily, we were able to sell the company at the end. So that's those two stories, just to show you what would it mean to have or to be resilient and have the enough robustness in your mind, and have that IQ, right? The emotional and EQ, the emotional intelligence, so that you able to basically flip any challenge into an opportunity. That was the biggest, I would say, learning for me. And again, because I'm coming from a product and engineering background, I did not have this kind of thinking, or how to really absorb all of that and respond in different ways. I mean, I don't know. My biggest challenge is to ship on time. When I was
Right.
working,
That's right.
when I was
On time, on budget, on
exactly.
spec. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was my biggest challenge when I was working at those companies. It's still a
Right.
stressful job, but that's completely different from being in the wild, and you have, sharks after you, and everyone, basically it just a lot of, I would say, factors working against you as an entrepreneur and against your startup.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, what are some of the principles that you have for the unstoppable entrepreneurial success?
Yeah, there are multiple of them. Number one, your mindset is your biggest asset, and you have to invest in that. This is non-negotiable. And your mindset at the end of the day, just in simple terms, is your tendency towards things. So if you have, let's say, if your tendency that people around you are friendly, if you're walking downtown New York, and someone says good morning, you're going to just smile in their face and say good morning.
Right.
If your tendency is, you know what, people are, mm, certainly want something from you, and if someone says good morning in the same situation, you're going to say no, thank you, and you're not going to even smile and just run away, right?
Right. Yeah.
So now, what's your tendency? What's your mindset towards those challenges? So that's number one challenge, or number now I would say principle that I always, when I work with entrepreneurs and coach them, I work with them. Number two, even though speed is very important, but you want to make sure that you're marching towards or in the right direction or towards a clear North Star.
Yeah.
What's your purpose? Why you're building your startup? The third principle is your startup is not you. So your startup is just a manifestation of your why and purpose. So
Yeah.
if your startup fails, then it doesn't mean that you're a failure. Especially given that there is a lot that you cannot control in your entrepreneurial journey. So, separate your startup from you. If it fails, this means you learn something. As
Yeah.
they say, failure is the best teacher, and success is a lousy teacher. So
It's
that's
true.
important. And then the fourth one and last one is build a support system around you. You cannot do the journey by yourself. It's hard. It's tough. Again, if we use the same analogy or the example of mountain climbing, they always go in groups. They have to
Yeah.
be together. It's hard. It's almost impossible for someone to go in such tough journey by themselves. Same thing in your entrepreneurial journey, you have to have that support system, mentors, advisors, your family and friends need to be ready to support you anytime, and just keep investing in that a lot.
Yeah.
All of these are going to elevate you as an entrepreneur.
I love that. And I think oftentimes that network of support is one of the things that entrepreneurs overlook, partly because they're like, I have this idea, I don't want anybody to take it. Right.
Yeah.
But they talk a little bit about how you built your network, Mo, and what that looks like.
Yeah. At the beginning, I was not intentional. It just happened by chance because during the fundraising, I was talking with VCs. Get to know them, getting introduced to other entrepreneurs, and so on. And then, in as I was realizing through that journey the importance of those, I started to do it intentionally, even without, I would say, a specific goal that is relevant to my startup.
Right.
Usually, you go to and talk to let's say VCs and advisors to basically solidify your portfolio as an entrepreneur for your startup.
Right.
I said, no, I'm going to do this activity each week. I'm going to reach out to someone. I'm going to get to know another entrepreneur and learn from them. I'm get to know another, expert in the industry and learn from them. Same thing for VCs. Even if I'm not raising right now, I would just go and talk with them,
Sure.
tell them what I have, and seek an advice. And some of them you would click together and
Right.
you stay connected. Some of them, they have other priorities, or maybe your style does not match their style. Then everyone moves on. You would still leave a good mark with them, because at the end of the day, your main goal is to build stronger connections with other humans. This is business, as Simon Sinek says. if you don't know people, you don't know business, right? So it's all about people at the end of the day. We're
Yeah.
exchanging value as humans as we do business together.
Yeah, I love that. So I guess what do you see kind of as somebody who maybe has an idea and is thinking about it? How has startups changed now in this kind of rapid deployment of AI? How is it different than say 10 years ago or 15
Oh,
years ago?
there's a lot. I would say 2 years ago.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
different from 2 years ago.
Right.
So yeah. So look, the core. Let's start with this. The fundamentals of building a startup are still the same, and any entrepreneur need to know those fundamentals. So, for
Yep.
example, if having the AI and the AI basically helping you to build prototypes quickly does not mean that you do not need to validate your idea. Idea validation still needed.
Yep.
Yes, maybe you can generate 10 ideas in a week or build 10 prototypes in a week, but why build 10 prototypes that are meaningless? You still
Right.
need to understand what does it mean to solve a real problem, and how do you take the problem that you sensed and validate it before you go and build something. When we were talking about moving fast but in the right direction, this is
Yeah.
setting direction.
Yeah.
So this is important. Same thing when it comes to fundraising. AI can help you, and we can talk about tips and tricks around that, but AI can help you to connect with more VCs,
Yeah.
or send more customized emails to those VCs. But at the end of the day, it's not going to work, because the fundamentals of fundraising is connecting with other humans, with VCs. They're going to invest in you, so they need to know you and trust you. So the existence of the AI will accelerate things. Now, the way that I think of any startup, it goes through 6 stages. We're not going to talk about the 6 stages, but we'll take a few examples, and let's pick and compare and contrast before AI and after AI.
Okay.
So, for example, let's take the idea validation. 2 years ago, you would definitely go and have a hypothesis about the problem, and then you will go and talk to your customer, the typical persona that you're targeting, to get a sense of whether this problem is an important problem or not.
Right.
With the AI right now, you can collect and do research. The way my workflow right now, and the workflow that, for example, that I encourage lots of entrepreneurs to do, is go and use, let's say, ChatGPT deep research, and get everything about the problem in social media. This is something that we used to do ourselves at the beginning. We used to go to Hacker News, read the news, or maybe off the website, or maybe post something and see how they're going to
People
react.
respond. Right.
With the AI now, actually, here's an interesting thing. The first thing is we build a persona out of the online content that we get using deep research. And then actually we feed this into the prompt of the whatever the AI you pick it. Make the AI act as your target persona.
Right.
And then try to build a dialogue with that AI, or maybe show the AI your prototype. You'll be surprised by the relevant feedback that you'll get. Now,
Sure.
I don't want to I don't want anyone to really get me wrong with that. The human factor need to be there. But rather than having I would say, three groups of interviews. First one is validating the idea. Second one is validating the possible solution, and then maybe showing them a demo. Maybe you can accelerate those three, so you can get a good idea about whether it's a really important problem or not with the AI. It's going to give you the feedback, and then go and rather than talking to 10 humans, talk to 5, and then quickly take the feedback and use that to build the MVP.
Right.
Let the AI analyze that for you and give you the insights. And this is I do a lot. It gives me the patterns that I usually do not see. So fundamentals are the same. You still need to talk to humans. You still need to understand that you must validate your idea, but AI now will accelerate that for you. If you don't know that, and you say, you know what, I'm gonna just use AI for everything, I guess you're gonna hit a wall, because at the end of the day, you're selling to humans. So humans need to verify and validate that for you. AI is just mimicking a lot of their thinking, but it's not everything. It misses, of course, the imagination and the background of those target customers and how to sell to them. So AI definitely can make a lot of difference. Same thing when it comes to fundraising and others. There usually, as I said, there are 6 phases or 6 main areas that you need to work on, AI can definitely contribute to each one of these.
Yeah, I like that, and I appreciate that you're highlighting the fact that we're talking to humans and that we have to be solving human concerns and have empathy and compassion in the process. It's not just it's not all transactional, and the machines are never going to have
Yep,
the same level of empathy that you and I have for each other.
absolutely, absolutely.
Well, tell me about one or two projects that you're involved in, either through mentoring an entrepreneur or through investing or through your network that you're excited about right now.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I'm really focused on these days is the Boundless Founder Community. So I'm I'm bringing entrepreneurs who are like-minded and who value and appreciate investing in their mindset before anything else.
Yeah,
And that community, it does two things. It definitely, first thing is connecting humans, establishing that relationship. And then we want them to look at their journey a bit differently. We'll still teach them how to do the initial sales, marketing, fundraising, and all of that.
sure.
But I talk with them about these, and I always handle the psychological aspect of it. We all know, for example, for you to get one yes in the sales, maybe you need to talk to 10, 10 possible prospects or more,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But the question here is, how do you handle the rejections? The first one, second one might be easy, but when it gets really dark and you 10 in a row of rejections, what do you do?
Yeah.
Right? How do you learn? This is something that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with, because it's not only the rejections that they get from sales. In a given day, they get rejections from people that they want to hire, from VCs,
Yep.
from customers, from even partners, and they have their own problems at home as well. I mean, there are lots of rejections that all work together, against the entrepreneur in a form of almost a perfect storm some days.
Yes,
And
indeed.
how do you, yeah, exactly. And how do you deal with that? This is what really keeps you
Hmm.
going. Um, and there is also another aspect that now we started to introduce, since we're talking about AI. How can the AI now accelerate your learning? So let's say you're now working through validating your product. How do you organize yourselves? So rather than waiting for a human, now they can get some highly trained model specifically for product validation, and
Yep.
now they can basically chat with that model to get a clear framework and clear action items, and then the model follow up with them. And then at the end of the day, that model will sit with them, to basically summarize what they've done to a human, like myself, for example, and we even take it further together. So that's one of my biggest projects that I'm working on right now, with entrepreneurs. And and by the way, a lot of the content there is free. So the anyone can go and register and become, as we call it, the explorer plan. They just explore whether the entrepreneurship is good for them or not. That's for
Yep.
free.
All right.
And then they can take it from that point.
Well, that's a beautiful gift, and of course, all that information will be in the show notes. It'll be easy to find that. The Inside Out Entrepreneur by Mohamed Ahmed. I highly recommend it, and I really appreciate the work that you're doing and the care that you have about the people that you're working with, Mohamed.
Thank you, Emmanuel.
Yeah. Well, I wish you the best of luck, and I hope to have you on the show again in a few months to see how things are going for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll share more tips and tricks about AI and marketing and sales. Absolutely.
All right. You have a great afternoon. Thanks, Mo.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Emmanuel.
Of course. Yep. Well, there's some good things to take away from that. One is that remember that we're working with humans, and that humans have permanent domains of human concern and need to solve those challenges, and it needs to be done with human compassion and empathy. Also, that there's processes that we need to follow as entrepreneurs, and we shouldn't skip. We should maintain those systems, use the AI to help where we can, and then get people from our network, either mentors or co-conspirators, to validate the activities that we're doing, and then take it into the marketplace and test to make sure that what we believe and what we've assessed is accurate. I hope you found some value in today's episode, and I hope you take some time to dig in and find an AI tool to test in your marketing or other parts of your business. Reclaim some time out of your week so that you can either upskill or spend time with your friends and family, or get outside and spend some time by yourself in nature. This is Emmanuel Rose, Marketing in the Age of AI.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emmanuel on LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.